So, as India head into the latter half of their campaign at the Paris Olympics, I specifically wanted to talk about two people on this episode, Ayaz. So, first of all, Lakshya Sen, who, though he lost in the semi-final against the Great Dane, Victor Axelsen, he has shown great spirit and has stepped up his game in this tournament and will vie for the bronze later in the evening today. And second of all, PR Sreejesh, our hockey goalkeeper and former captain, who stood like the ball that he's been known for and helped India through to the semi-finals against Germany, the world champion. So, first of all, let's start with Lakshya. Now, he's been the lone bright spot in the badminton contingent for India. A lot of people expected the men's doubles team to go through, but that didn't happen, sadly. But Lakshya has sort of stepped up his game. But at this junction, he was like in this game, for example, he was up 2017 in the first game and 7-0 in the second. Do you think it was the fact that it was his first Olympics and the veteran experience of Axelsen then shown through?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, look, this is a learning curve. It's a very steep learning curve for him. So it's thrown with a lot of heartbreaks and disappointments. He's still in line for a medal. So let's not discount him completely. But I think, look, inexperience compared to Axelsen, and obviously, it got the better of him. The fact that he was poised to win the first game, certainly, it seemed like it was his for the taking. It didn't happen. Then he sped away to a 7-0 lead in the second, and one thought that, okay, he's recovered sufficiently. But this, sport can be very brutal at the highest level. There are times when you presume or assume that you got a match or a title in your bag, and then you find at the end of it that you've been miles away. And that's what's happened to young Lakshya Sen. But I think that the most telling comment came from Axelsen himself post match, when he said that he lauded Lakshya for putting up a stiff fight, and he predicts, Axelsen predicts, that 4 years hence in the next Olympics, Lakshya Sen might start off as the favorite for the gold medal. So 4 years is a long time. Now Lakshya Sen's, whatever happens for the bronze medal match, 4 years is a long time. It means that he has to be consistent. He has to show consistency, and obviously the learnings from these Olympics, his first, but really stiff learnings that he's had to kind of take. Hopefully, there'll be some good coming from it.
Yeah. And moving on to a guy who's in his fourth Olympics, Sreejesh, and India were down to 10 men after Amit Rohidas was sent off with a red card. But they somehow defended for close to 45 minutes against Great Britain, and Sreejesh helped in the shootout, and now they're through. Do you think it's high time we build Sreejesh a statue?
Yeah, I think it's long overdue, isn't it? I mean, look, what an incredible match and what an incredible personality. He's a cult figure now, in Indian sport. There's been so much happening in the last 4 or 5 years. It almost seemed that he was cashing. He had overdrawn on his balance 4, 5, 6 years back, because he's not a spring chicken, as you know. He's been around for 20 years almost. So, and it just boggles my mind. He started off as a sprinter, isn't it? And then he played I think he played football, then he moved into hockey and so on. He's a man of many parts. He's a very colorful personality, but above all, he's a great, great hockey player. I mean, he's probably, in my opinion, currently amongst, all the attention goes to the goal scorers, the penalty corner specialists, the drag flickers, etc., etc. Not enough attention, like in cricket, not enough attention is given to two wicket keepers. Not enough attention is given to goalkeepers in hockey. But Sreejesh has, I think, single-handedly kind of revised that myopic mindset which fans and experts have, and fellow hockey players. I think when he walks onto the field now, he compels attention, because he just seems to do so often the impossible, whether it's jumping onto the horizontal bar and sitting on it after India won the bronze medal at Tokyo, or pulling off these magnificent saves during the course of the game, and then obviously also in the penalty shootout against Great Britain. And I think the Indian team, all the players, draw so much confidence from the fact that Sreejesh, the Great Wall of India, is under the bar.
Yeah. And next we move on to the golden boy of Indian athletics, Neeraj Chopra, whose qualification event is tomorrow. Now, given that India haven't had a really successful campaign, I would say they've only got 3 medals from one sport. Do you think that puts a lot of added pressure on Neeraj's shoulders?
It does. But under my personal experience with Neeraj, and I met him a few times in Mumbai. So he seems to be a man in remarkable self control. He's not swayed by the the fame that he's garnered for his wondrous achievements. He just seems to be so level-headed. And his biggest thing, when you speak to him, he's constantly talking about the need to absorb pressure. That's really the crux as far as Neeraj. And I think he's understood it extremely well. We're a country of 140 crore people and one gold medalist. You can imagine the pressure on him. It's not like it's a team sport where there are 11 or 16 or 20 in a squad and the pressure is, in a sense, equally distributed. Here's this one guy. He's your sole track and field gold medalist. And, in that sense, the pressure on him is humongous, monumental, it's unimaginable. But if there's one person I know who can handle it, it's him. Now, we'll have to wait and see what happens. But I think he's just opened up so much the vistas of achievement in Indian sport. When you think of how inspired India has been in the last 2 or 3 years, it just goes back to javelin throw. Neeraj Chopra in his first attempt at Tokyo, pulling off a heist, so to speak. But it's not just a heist. Heist can have a different connotation also. You pulled it off when nobody else was watching or everybody else was not aware. He has gone and, consistently, the way he's been winning titles, the way he's been performing, the consistency is what really inspires me to believe that, we can rely on Neeraj. So hopefully, fingers crossed, he'll do an encore.
Yeah, fingers crossed for that. And lastly, we should also talk about cricket, which has been kind of the bread and butter of this show for a long time. So India are in Sri Lanka, and the T20 series under Surya Kumar Yadav's captaincy, India won 3-0. A bit tricky, but still. But the ODI, the first match was tied, and the second match India lost. So how do you see things going there?
Not too well for India, certainly. Look, a lot of the attention for all of us certainly has been kind of pulled towards the Olympics, towards Paris. So, but it's an international encounter. It's an international contest. India did very well in the T20s, not so well so far in the ODIs. They can't win the series, certainly. So, yeah, I think, look, post the T20 World Cup victory, it's going to take a little while for, for Indian cricket to regain that rhythm. I think it's a question of rhythm. So you had some players missing from the T20 team, some formidable players, Rohit, Virat, Ravindra Jadeja, missing from the T20 team, but we won 3-0. So, but does it mean that that's really the best team that's available? Maybe not. It's a first off the block kind of a thing, and we swept aside Sri Lanka, who looked completely overawed. Not so much in the 50-over game, where they've come better prepared mentally, and I think the pitches have also. I mean, it's not easy. I can tell you, I've been to Sri Lanka multiple times. It's not easy to beat the Sri Lankan cricket team in Sri Lanka. They are a very difficult side to beat, especially when the pitches are playing so slow. They are slow and low turners. Muthaya Muralitharan, Rangana Herat, some of the great spinners that they produce, and how teams from overseas, including from India, would struggle against them. Sanath Jayasuriya, who's now the boss man, so to speak, in Sri Lankan cricket. So, yes, India has something to redeem, at least in the third game, so that you don't get blanked out. But as I mentioned earlier, I think it's a question of finding the rhythm again, settling down to a new rhythm with a new coach, different captains. It may take a little while, but it needs to be done.
Yeah. So we'll keep bringing you more updates from cricket and even more from the Olympics. So yeah, that's it for this episode of Sports Room. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Andrew. Cheers.